So on the previous tutorial, we added security. So in this tutorial, we want to complete our release song to call the task scheduler services. So if it's the status is scheduled, we need to call the task scheduler service and you can persist a task. So what we can do now, let's create a new model. This one, we can call it task DTO. So, and we can add a getter and a setter. Let's add this. So we can open our task scheduler. For a task, we have crucial things that we want. We need this, and we need a process date. So let me come back here. We can come back to our music service. In our DTO, we need a process date, the time that we are going to release a song, and additional information, which is this data. Then the other thing that I want to introduce you to Feign client. So people used to use the REST template, but for us, we are going to use Feign client. So it is more better than a REST template. So let's create a new package called proxy. I already showed you how to use Feign client. So we need the dependency for Feign client here. So far we don't have it. So let's copy it in our messaging service. I think we already have it here in here. Yeah, we can copy this. And we can come to our music service. This is the dependence that we want. And we can download this. After downloading, let's copy other configuration for this in our messaging service. We need this configuration. Let's copy it. The Feign client config. This is responsible to get the access token. And we can come back here and we can paste it in our configuration. There's the other thing that we need, which is a security service. So let's go back here and let's go to security service and we can copy this. And we can come back to our music service, and in our services, let's just paste this. So the purpose of this is in our request template, we are passing a bearer token. So this service is responsible of getting that bearer token using the security context holder, and we can get the subject. This is the ID. If you say get token value, you can grab the token. So in our configuration here, when you want to call another endpoint, we are going to use this configuration and update it here. So we can do this. Let's import the security service, this one, and we are okay. So now let's copy our proxy. Let's just copy one of our proxy that is in here. This one is an auth. And we can come back to our music service. In our music service, let's go to the music service here. And in our proxy, let's paste this, and I can call it task proxy because we want to call task scheduler. Then you say okay, and here it's going to be task. This is going to be a task scheduler. So let's run this 8761. We want to see the actual name for a task. It's not currently running. Let me run the task scheduler. Or if you want to know, you can just copy this this name. This is the one that we want. If I just reload here, you can see it's task scheduler. So that's the one that you want to put here as a name. So here we need to create task, and we are expecting a response with an ID when creating, and here it's going to be a request body. The request body is the task DTO that we created. So in our task DTO, let me just do this. String. We need this ID after creating it. So we just copy this and we can do this. And here it's a post mapping. And for a task, it starts with a task, which is the context path of a task scheduler. And then we can now come back here into task scheduler, and on our API it's going to be tasks. So it's going to be task, and it's a post mapping. Let's see the context path so as to be sure. In our task scheduler, oh, it's task scheduler. This is the context path. Then we'll come back to our music service and we can put this here. Task scheduler, task, then it will create a new task and we can get it. So after doing this, we need to come here and we need to add enable Feign clients. So if it's enabled, if I click this, it will go to where we added a Feign client package. So now let's go to our song service implementation. Here we need to code this here. So what we can do is to do this, add this task proxy, and we can import it. So here we need to call this endpoint create task. So we can just say task detail builder that we need to set a data. For now, just say now. We need to add this later. Process date, which is a release date. And then you say build. Then we can pass this. Then it will return a task. Then once you get this ID, we need to update with the status. We want to update with the status scheduled. Then we need the ID of a task so that we know which task is going to process the task ID. So what you want to do here you just say map. So before I do that, map of string here object. This is going to be our data and it's going to be a hash map. Then in our hash map we need to pass the we need to put here, just say release song, and we can pass the song ID, and we need to pass an artist ID. So here we need an artist ID, and it is coming from here. We can get the artist ID, and this is the data that we want to send here. So these keys are there in the task service. Let's go to the task scheduler service. If we go to the task scheduler service, when we are processing a task, we have these keys, which is release song, artist ID, and release album. So I can just come here, or I can come back here, and I can paste here, and I can make this public. So that's why I said we need this. They're in this data, so that our task scheduler will be able to process this, and it will know that this is a release song. So that's okay, that we do here. So here we were updating a status. So what we can do, we have this method in our repository that is update song status. So what you can do also, I can just come and copy this. So here it's update scheduled song status. We already the song ID, we have the status, and what we need right now, we need a task ID, task scheduler ID, task scheduler ID. Then we can do this here, and we can do this here. Just put a comma, and here it's a string. So we need to code this endpoint, and we can update with the new status, which is scheduled in task scheduler ID, which is the ID that is going to be created in the task scheduler. So we can come back here. So like what we've done here, I can just copy this and do this. The status here, it's going to be scheduled. I can do this directly here, and we need this task.id. So we need to test this implementation for this release, and we are going to pass a scheduled and an artist ID. So let's just do this. So in our here, we just do this, and we need to go to the publish API. This is the publish API, and we need to release a song, publish song. We can release a song, and we can just try out here. Here it's a song ID. So what I can do is to come here in our task scheduler. I think we have some data, one of the songs that we used here. Let's just copy this. This is the song ID, and I can paste it here. For an artist, I'll just say artist 1, and the status here is going to be scheduled. For a release date, I can change this date from 11 to 12. If I try to do this, we are going to have issue with the security. So let's just create a token. I'll create an access token here, and I will copy this. And then I'll come back into here and add a bearer token, and I can click authorize and I click close. Then I click execute. We have a 500. Let's check the issue here. So I have an error, and this error is coming from task scheduler. So let's go to the task scheduler and check the error. Let's see here. We have an issue like lookout date time not supported. So we are sending a lookout date time, but the JSON does not support it. We need to add this dependency so that it will be resolved. So I have added, let's go to the music, to the task scheduler service. I have added this bin, and this bin requires a time module for this to work. So I added this bin so that our issue will be fixed. So we need to test now our implementation so that we can get a successful response. So if I execute this, let's execute this. We need to generate a token. It has expired, and I can copy a token here. Let's put this token here, log out, paste, authorize, close, and I can execute now. So after executing, we get a 201. It means it has been created. So what I can do, if I open this one, if I run this command, if I click this song, you can see the time the song has been scheduled and the scheduler ID, which is 242. So if we go here and reload here, let's check the ID for this. This is the ID of the scheduler, and the song will be processed on 12th December at this time. So this is how we implemented this. So for your task is now to do the same for album release. The logic is just going to be the same. Copy the implementation that we have done here and add it into an album. Salut coders.